Hey everybody, Scout Crafty here again. It's Wednesday. A few things to get to today. I'm going to start right off. I wanted to talk real quick to begin with about eBay. Now, with this COVID and everything that we've had for the last year, a lot of us, we're getting a little stir crazy and like to maybe shop around on eBay, which I do enjoy every once in a while. I like to see what things are going for and whatnot. But something popped up and I just wanted to bring it to your attention because I've been on eBay since the very beginning. And in the very beginning, it was like the Wild West. I said this once before. There was criminal activity. There was so many things going on. But eBay has done a lot to clean up their act. But there are some unscrupulous dealers out there and you have to be careful. But there was this one gentleman I knew, and I use that term lightly. This guy was in the very beginning of eBay. He had a real criminal mind, this guy, and he knew how to drive prices up, and he did that. And I remember back at the time when he was on, he had some T-Jet, these cars, these slot cars, and at the time they were people were attracted to them, and also Hot Wheels and things like that. And what he would do is he would put these vehicles or these little toy cars on at exorbitant prices. And then he would go his wife or his girlfriend at the time had an account, and she would bid, and a friend of his would bid. And until they won, they would drive the price up. And this is how he drove, just one guy drove the prices of these things insane, And then what happened is, people started seeing these go for the price, and it's like, wow, I seen that thing sell for $100, and so they would bid $60 thinking that they're selling for $100, but it's really this one guy was scamming everybody by having his friends buy them, and they still do it today. Now, there's an old saying that says, don't blame the player, blame the game. Meaning, if that's the rules and somebody's getting away with it, that's the rules. But you got to be careful of this. You got to be leery. We haven't had too much of it in the tool industry, especially vintage tools, but it's out there, and you got to be careful. I was going around the other day, and I saw some exorbitantly priced tools from this one dealer. And this is, so when you see some, things like this on eBay, do not think that these are selling for that price. Even if you do see it sell, don't get caught in that trap. These kind of tools do not command that kind of money. Do not fall into the trap. So many people have. I'm trying to look out for you because it happens. It happens to the best of us. Sometimes you get caught up in a bidding war. That's one thing. But other times, you're bidding against somebody that, isn't putting that money out. He's just buying it for a friend, and no money ever, changes hands. So just be leery of that if you ever see that. And with that, let's get started and see what we got for today. First up today, we got a couple people sent in some great stuff, and I just want to go through it. I don't want to pile up too much, so I'm going to try and get it as they come in. This was sent to me by a good friend by the name of Anthony Ronci, and he's out of Ohio. And Anthony sent in, he said, I have this old Sears and Roebuck catalog that was kicking around. This is a reprint from you can see here, 1979. So this alone is almost an antique because it's so 40 years old, And, look at this. It was $3.95 back then. But, this is a reprint from a 1909 catalog that Sears and Roebuck had. And, we always like looking through these. There's such great catalogs. But what I like to do is I always like to see what things cost back then. But what thing caught my eye is, remember this, you see this organ here, this beautifully wood and, home organ, $24.35 for this full organ, right, with the keys and everything. Now, remember that, okay? As I flip through the pages here, and I want to show you something, for $25 you could buy that organ, yet, if we go through here, look over here. These were so intricate, these gramophones, that they cost the same thing for $25. Now, I have an Edison gramophone that I'll show on one of the things, but you know how much money $25 was in 1909? It was crazy to think about it, but I always get a kick out of it. I like to look through and see how much. Look at that, $395 for that beautiful chair. So it's always amazing to me, and I always I'll have a lot of fun with this. So Anthony, thank you for that. Anthony also sent in this screwdriver, and only because he wanted to see the the regrinding of the tip again, because you know how everybody, we always have these tips that always have problems, and I'll go through that real quick, and we'll show how these tips get reground easy, quickly, and the best way I found. Now, whenever people have always tried to clean up tips and things like that, it is much harder than it looks, especially if you don't have the right tools. It took me a while to come up with something that's simple and almost foolproof for the average person to do. But if you try and take this to the belt sander sideways, you're always never going to get it even and straight. And there's so many ways to screw this up. And you can ask 357 Magdad, because we both went through the same thing trying to find the perfect way. Let me show you the best way I found to do this without fail. Now here we have our 4x36 Sears belt grinder. This is one of the most common belt sanders you could buy, and they're always good to have. It's really good, but they don't last super long because of just the way they're made, but they are good even if you have to buy them every few years without rebuilding them. Now, the way I found the easiest way to do is there's a section on here. There's a couple sections on this belt sander. There's the flat area here. There's this little dip, that curve between the belt and the roller that's really important, and then there's the roller itself. And what I like to do is to take the screwdriver, the flat end of the screwdriver, place it against here like this, and not the tip, because the tip you'll burn up 1, 2, 3. Just the side, you're touching right about here. So you want to touch this, and then you just want to go up. Remember, it's flat all the way up here. So you just want to up and down a little bit. Again, not touching the tip. Flip it over, do the same thing up and down until you straighten this out. Let's see what that looks like. Now, that was a coarse belt, so you're going to have a coarse grind on there. You can always change the belts, but you can see how we flattened that out now. It's no longer, it's a nice, now, again here, now, the tip is always, it was a little bit messed up before, so we want to take the tip back a little bit. So you do this part first. Now we're going to address the tip. And the funny thing, it's kind of weird the way I do the tip, but let me show you real quick. Now, remember, I told you about this part of the belt here, the soft spot. What I like to do is, believe it or not, I hold the screwdriver vertical to the surface of the belt, and I just turn it like this. I'm going to do it lefty, but I turn it like this while the belt is spinning, and that flattens it out. And I'll show you what that looks like. It is strange, but it works for me. And then last up, what you do is you take some sandpaper here. And remember, we had that coarse grit on here. We're just going to lay the screwdriver flat on a board, and using your finger on a piece of sandpaper, you're going to sand those coarse grits out until you're happy with what you have. Next up, while we're at it, the shaft is a little bit rusty. We'll just hit that real quick before I show you the tip. And here we go, we're calling this project. I just went over a little bit of plastic polish on the handle here. You can see it's a USA made AMC brand, chrome vanadium. We always like those. And you can see how nice the shaft came out now. And you can see the tip, right? Look at that tip. Isn't that just lovely? And it's a very easy process. And let me show you, I ground this for this type of screw. You can see the tip there, the very edge. And look how nicely this fits in here. You can see. Look at that. That's a nice tight fit. And, so you grind your screwdrivers according to what you're going to be doing. But, that's it. That's the best way I've found to do that. Works out really good. And an easy way to do it. Quick and easy, kind of foolproof. And but you will mess up a few until you get kind of used to it. I've messed up so many. So, Anthony, thanks very much for that. I really appreciate it. And we'll put that to good use over here in the shop. Next up, a good friend of the show for a long time, Cliff, is my buddy out in Maine. He was originally from Massachusetts, moved to Maine, and a little bit of backstory behind Cliff. Cliff actually developed a medical condition where his joints kind of started locking up, and I don't want to get into it too much. It's kind of a personal thing, but Cliff used to build hot rods and carpentry, and was building his barn and everything, and all of a sudden he got hit with this affliction, and everything locks up, his hands don't work, things like that. And this is why it's a perfect example, is you don't put all your eggs in one basket. Because for a lot of us, a lot of people that do put your eggs in one basket, if something happens, you're SOL, and there's nothing you could do about it. And so depression sets in, things like that. But when you have a lot of hobbies, that's the beauty of it. So, granted, he can't get around as much. His joints are locking up on it. But you know what he does? He learned to get around it by doing smaller work and different kind of work, and still enjoying the hobby. Now he makes all kinds of jewelry and things like that, of coins, teapots, all kinds of stuff. You've seen it before on the channel. Let me show you what he sent in. Now, Cliff also does tool restorations, but he sent in this stuff. He goes by the name of Mr. Doughboy 356 on YouTube. And like I said, I've known Cliff for years now. And what happens is, these are probably tools that he just figures he won't get to now, because he's got a lot on his plate. He does a lot of stuff. But let me show you some of the cool things that here, this hammer is very similar to the one that I sent to Mike over in Australia, or New Zealand rather, and Man Cave, and a couple other, got, of course, a great auto wrench, couple beautiful saw sets. Look at this. This one's a really nice one. I've been playing with this before. This one's just a really lovely saw set. And again, another one. This one's a heavy duty one. You could see here and how they change. And I'll tell you, saw sets, you can just collect saw sets, and there's thousands of them that they made out there. Really interesting. Here's a nice Stanley scraper. Look at this, number 82. And very nice, and nice Stanley level. This one here, the vial is cemented in. It's empty, the vial, but I would like to tackle this one too. This one here has a patent date, if I'm not mistaken, of 1900 maybe, or 1890. Can't really see it too good, You could see it better on there. But all nice stuff. Look at this Red Devil. Red Devil made some great tools, didn't they? Back in the the 50s and 60s. They were known for their scraping products, things like that. Look at this beautiful Red Devil scraper here. This would be a nice one to tackle, right? Had the Red Devil, obviously red. All nice tools, but let me show you the best part of what he sent. Now, this was my favorite part of what he sent. Cliff, like I said, he makes all kinds of miniatures. He makes out of coins, which is really interesting. He can take a coin and make a teapot out of it, make a tea set out of it. He's done so many things. He's making, guitars. I can't tell you all the things he's done. You got to check out his channel. But he sent this over here, and check this out. First of all, he knows when I did my last video, I talked about, I always wanted a 1909S VDB, and here it is, 1909S, and then you can see on the back, VDB, and you can see that's the initial. Victor David Brenner. And look at that. This is a like a 1 ounce replica of copper. And copper's gotten crazy as far as price, but look at, this is an example of one of the things he made. He knows I collect locks. Look at this. How amazing is this? He made a lock with a key, a working key that goes in here and opens up the lock. You can see, and when you pass the key through, it goes through the back hole like the old locks did. And look at the detail on here. He made it all from 50-cent pieces, peened it over and stuff. And he didn't make a video on this. I would love to see how he made this. Is just, unless he made it a while ago before I didn't, I got to check it out. Look how beautiful that is, huh? With the Liberty and the way he cut it out and, bends it back, and out of the Kennedy $50. And he does all kinds, and he made the key out of, looks like maybe a quarter. Maybe a quarter. Yeah, it looks like it, right? I'll tell you, this is just amazing. How cool is that? So, Cliff, thank you very much for that. That is outstanding. Go check out Cliff's channel, and let's see what we're going to do from Cliff's box today. Believe it or not, I really like these, and I bet you these things are going to be fantastic when they're cleaned up, because these are really handy cutters because they got that little curve to it, and a lot of times you need to cut to something, and you don't have to worry about, obviously, when they close too much, they got that little clip down here. Let's take it apart, clean these up, and see how these operate, because these look really, they sound really no good. Surprises taking it apart, but you can see here, we're just going to take it to the wire brush. Again, we don't want to dull the edge, so you got to be very careful with the wire brush not to dull the edge. But let's see what this is, and here's the screw in perfect shape because we used Anthony's freshly ground screwdriver. Okay, here's our post-wire brush evaluation, and the reason we do this is to see if there's any writing, any names, what we have here, and sure enough, I knew this thing screamed of quality. This is a vintage Klaus, can you see it? C-L-A-U-S-S, USA. Now, this is a vintage one because they still make it in their catalog today, as you could see, but it's a little bit different. Klaus was 1877. They formed in the United States out of Ohio, but in 2004 they were taken over by you know, another company that kind of has work from Italy, Germany, Colombia, and the U.S. So you know, you don't know where what you're getting is made now, but that it's high quality. Klaus has been known at one time was the largest producer of cutting implements in the world. So they have quite a history, and a lot of people don't know about them, but this one is in the catalog as a wire cutter, so you know it's forged to a heavy-duty steel, and this you could tell, I could tell right away from cleaning it, this is a fantastic steel because you could see, although it was rusty, all it does is stain, it doesn't pit. Okay, so that's how you could tell a good, a really high quality steel. So let's see what we're going to do with these. This is really exciting, and we'll see how we can get this to work. And what I like to do with the staining part is to use the fiber wheel. But you got to keep it cool because you don't want to change the temper. So just have a thing of water there near you, and let's get to it. Now, I had intentions of just painting the handles like they were before. You see here, they kind of left the forge marks on and, it was painted. But the new ones come polished. So I said, well, you know what? I know Cliff likes shiny. So remember what it looked like, This is what it looked like before. So we're going to, and this is the after. But we're not quite finished. Now you know my favorite part. Remember what these Klaus clippers looked like before we started. And we're calling this project done. Now, in a million years, I guess you never would have thought this is the tool of all the cool tools that Cliff sent over, that this is the one I would do. But I have to tell you, I had more fun doing this tool because it's just a beautiful shear of whatever type it is. Now, let me show you what we did. First of all, we took out all the markings, all the forge marks. We did the inside in the classic red. And the blades came out beautiful. Didn't have to sharpen it. Even put red in the Klaus. Look at that, huh? Now, let me show you how. Listen to this. Can you hear this? It is so... It's such... I can't even describe the feeling of how this works. It's tight, yet it's smooth. Now, we all know cotton. Anybody that knows scissors... This is like some of the hardest stuff to cut, right? Check this out. Look at this here. Can you see that? This is material. Look at that. Look at that clean cut. Now, again, they make this today. They still make it today, but it's not, I don't know where it's made. This one here, it's highest quality steel, not cheap by any, these things are expensive, but they said it's used for thin metal, things like that, or whatever. But here's my question to you. Does anybody use these on a regular basis? And if you do, what do you use them for? Because it's a general purpose snip, but they're just lovely. Absolutely lovely. Cliff, I can't tell you how happy I am with these. These are just beautiful, aren't they? Look at that. With the I just love them. Tell you. Okay, I really enjoyed today's projects. A special thanks to Anthony and Cliff for sending them in. Also, thanks very much for you to watching. I'll have a link to Cliff's channel in the description. Go check him out. Say hello. And again, thanks so much for tuning in. Hope you have a great day. Take care now. Bye-bye.